Ready? Share.
Listo?
Yeah.
That is one loud bell.
Uh-huh. Good morning and welcome everyone. Pura Vida. Two of my three children are here and I want to introduce you before we get started. That's my daughter Kate and my son Ben, and they'll wave at you so you know who they are.
Which one's Kate?
Can you tell by the facial? Like it's
Anyway, welcome again to Bali Rica for our Dharma talk, and in beautiful Costa Rica. And Mark is really helping me out this morning. In fact, I just said, "You do, you do it," and he said, "I will." So I'm now going to turn this over to Mark, and I do want to say just one thing before he takes over, which is we had dinner here in Bali Rica night before last, and the volunteers here are just so wonderful, and they're so adventurous, and they're just such a pleasure to be in this pavilion. This is truly a stop for wayfarers, people with curiosity and courage, and I think some of them are getting ready to leave, and we're going to be sorry to see you go. So now, please, Mark, take it away.
Okay.
Okay.
With a lot of fanfare. I can tell
there
you,
go.
I've got nothing. But surprisingly, that's actually a really, really good thing to have nothing. Because one of the things I'd like to talk about today is it's really a fancy title, but here we go. It's the decompiling of fantasy.
Decompiling
Of fantasy.
That sounds funereal. Okay, cool.
And again, got nothing.
Yeah, that's better than that was.
Yeah.
I had
True
nothing.
enough.
Yeah.
What do I mean by that? It's a fancy way of looking at something from another perspective. Another way of looking at it is embracing truth. But in order for us to embrace truth, there has to be usually a change. And the one thing that we learn in the Dharma on a regular basis is that everything is in a state of change. Everything is in a state of change all the time. So that part's really easy. That part we've got nailed. All we have to do is show up and everything changes around us.
Yeah.
Excellent. But what do we do with it, and how do we do it, and how do we engage it? That's where the problem starts to come in. When I was thinking about it this morning on my morning walk, strangely enough, so many metaphors, but I'll let you create your own. But I was thinking about flying, and there's something called an NDB, a non-directional beacon. Pretty simple. It means that if I'm flying in a particular direction and I'm not sure where I'm going because the outside could be nighttime, could be a storm, could be whatever, I don't know necessarily what's out there, but I have a compass heading, and I fly the compass heading, and it'd be a lot easier if I could just tune into a particular frequency and this thing goes, "Hey, over here, over here, over here," and I go, "Oh," and I just point the airplane into that beacon and I fly straight for the beacon. Everything's good. Everything's good. The problem is, though, it doesn't take into consideration wind. It doesn't take into consideration obstacles. It doesn't take into consideration anything else. It just says, "I'm here, I'm here, I'm here." And I'm saying, well, I'm over here and I want to go there. And so I fly in that direction, but the wind's pushing me in this way. And even though it's highly unlikely and not probable, you could theoretically, if this is the tower, fly all the way around the tower in a spiral to the tower if the winds kept pushing you around and you weren't paying attention. The entire time you're doing it, though, you think you're flying straight forward because you have no reference telling you one way or the other.
You lose your bearings.
Well, you've got your bearings because you know where you're going, but you have no reference.
In relation,
Yeah. So why does that have to do with today's talk? I think it has everything to do. Because how often do we follow our spiritual path, or we go to something, we find ourselves in a situation where everything is crumbling around us. Everybody's going, this is crazy making. I've never seen it this crazy before, which is the same thing that they said last year and the year before and the year before and 10 years ago and 100 years ago and 200 years ago and 1,000 years ago. So we're saying the same thing, but we're still trying to find that normality. And that normality is that NDB that's saying over here, over here, over here. I'm like, okay, well, all I have to do is tune into that frequency and everything will be fine. Except there's outside influences. There's something. There's somebody who needs something. There's somebody who doesn't like the way my dress looks. No, I'm pretty. It's from India.
It's pretty.
It is, yeah. But the point is that I'm not aware of these things that are bumping or changing my path. But I do hear the calling. I do hear where it is that I'm going. I have a vision of where it is that I'm going. But I may not be going there directly. And I think that's what we're kind of looking at when we say the decompiling of the illusion. So what are some of the illusions? I mean, quite honestly, you guys can open your phones and we can be inundated with thousands upon thousands of illusions of everything that's going on in the world. But the reality of it is it really as bad as we make it seem? On a personal level, many people may not know this, but in a personal level, there's the Pope has gone to Canada and he showed up and he said, hey, everybody, kind of sorry about what happened.
Yeah.
Gosh, how inconvenient, and I hear that you're hurting. I make light of it because there's a lot of pain in there.
It's a tragedy.
It's a tragedy. And when talking with my native friends, I've been getting emails back and forth, and there was somebody who said, "Why does he get the Pope get a ceremonial headdress? Why? Of all the people to get that, he represents a destructive institution that's caused us great harm.